My job takes me to a lot of places. I sleep alone. I eat alone. I'd like to meet someone, but it's tough when you live out of a suitcase. My name's Joe. This is what I do.
Purpose of your visit to Bangkok, Mr. Vincent?
Holiday. All my clients have one thing in common. They feed off the people. There's big money in misery. Where there's money, there's competition. And the guy paying me usually wins.
แน่ใจนะว่าเป็นมันพวกรัสเซียไว้ใจได้
You want to make some money? 2,000 a day. What's your name? Carl. You know the Caribbean Club? Ask for a dancer named Om. Give her this. She's gonna give you a package.
When it comes to killing.
The man in the case.
He helps many country girls. He buys them from their parents and sell them.
Make it quick. Make it clean.
Do the police know who you are?
No one knows who I am.
And never make it personal.
Don't take an interest in people outside of work. There is no such thing as trust.
What is your work?
Oh, banking.
This summer.
This guy fights bad guys and helps the poor. Thai people love him. He's a very good man, same like you.
When you deal in the business of death, saving a life can be the most deadly job of all.
Yes. We had an arrangement. Political assassination wasn't in the contract.
Nicolas Cage.
If I see your people again, I'll kill you.
Bangkok Dangerous.
Just once I'd like to be the guy in the warehouse that comes in the next day and sees all this damage and it's just like, what the hell happened? It's just like, and then he gets blamed for it and they fire him. So that's my thinking behind this movie. I mean, it's better than anything that goes on in this piece of garbage, but Nicolas Cage plays Joe, a professional hitman who picks someone off the streets to do his errands. And after he's finished killing that person, his next assignment takes him to Bangkok, and as usual, he finds a streetwise guy named Kong to help him. After Kong has a close call and learns who Joe is, Kong asks him to train him, and he does. So it's a hitman version of the Karate Kid, I guess. Let me continue on here. Joe also meets a local girl who is deaf and spends time with her, but he has a hard time keeping his other life from her. It also appears that the person who hired Joe has broken his rule of complete anonymity and tries to find him. I mean, at this point, there's not really much more you could say about this film that has already been said already. It's a terrible movie. This is a remake of a film done by these same directors, the Pang brothers, but this is their first film they did after the other bad movie they did, The Messengers. And it's clear with this movie that they have not learned a goddamn thing about making a good movie here, and really, it's not even their fault per se. It's Nicolas Cage, and just, like, he was making some really bad movies at this point, and this may be the worst of the worst. This was, because Next at least is somewhat laughably bad. The Wicker Man is a so bad it's good type of movie. I mean, he's done so many other better movies than this, and this just feels like a film that he should have nowhere near anything into his involvement in this movie, and it really shows. Because, like, it doesn't even look like he's trying in this movie. Nobody's really trying in this movie. The plot goes all over the place. The action sequences aren't even that cool. They're just kind of there. They're just kind of there to be the stock action sequences, and there's nothing clever about them. There's nothing exciting about them. The rest of the cast is pretty bland and forgettable. It's a film that is just so all over the goddamn place that it's not even worth it in the long run. This is clearly a movie that Lionsgate had no faith in whatsoever, but they opened it up on a weekend when nothing else was opening up. So, lo and behold, idiots went out to go see it and made it the #1 movie, which, even then, it wasn't even that big of a success. It only brought in $7 million. That's the #1 movie. It was one of the lowest weekends in Labor Day weekend history. That's how bad this weekend was. And it was a bad weekend for movies, new releases, but, yeah, this film sucks. I mean, I don't think I need to tell you anything more about how bad this movie is. Bangkok Dangerous, it's a terrible movie. So, let's go to the other movie here, the slightly better movie, not by that much anyway, but, Matthew McConaughey in Surfer Dude.
position?
Surfer. How long you staying stateside? Long enough to check in with my bros, keep it stoked, you know?
Uh-huh.
Stoked.
Yeah, that's literally the crux of the comedy in this movie. Just stuff like that. And that should give you an indication of how the quality of the movie is. You have Matthew McConaughey starring as a soul-searching surfer who experiences an existential crisis when no waves come for over a month. When the waves are not arriving, producers are trying to get him to join a reality show. He refuses joining the show because his main focus is surfing, and he keeps searching for the waves along the coast of California. The waves end up coming back a month later. That's the plot of the entire goddamn movie. So, yeah, that's an indication of maybe you should avoid this one here. And I'll give Matthew McConaughey this. I'll give it this. At least he's not in a bad romantic comedy where he's basically being wasted among a really bad script and all. But this isn't any better, man. This is a film that's so lazy. Willie Nelson is in the movie. Woody Harrelson is barely in this movie. And he claimed it was the most non-work he had ever done on a movie, which should tell you everything you need to know. Nobody really is doing anything. There's no reason for this film to even exist because the plot makes no sense whatsoever. It's, oh no, I don't have any waves for a month. What's my life coming to? Dude, you're Matthew McConaughey. You know, you could go and do something else in your life until the waves come back. I mean, like, none of this makes any goddamn sense whatsoever. And I don't even care if you're a surfer and you like this movie. There's got to be more important things to do in your life than waiting for waves to come back. Nothing happens in this goddamn movie. This is a terrible film. It's a waste of your time. But the benefit is it's better than Bangkok Dangerous, which really isn't saying a whole lot, but got to give it something at least. So there you go. That's the end of a really lousy weekend, which we have not had here on the show in a long time. I mean, there were weekends when you actually did have a couple of movies that opened up that at least the studios had somewhat of a belief in. But this weekend, I don't know what the hell they were thinking when this weekend came out. But
Last year, the Coen brothers took you on a dangerous journey in No Country for Old Men on September 12th.
Stop the foolishness.
They'll take you on a journey
Where's the money? He didn't give it to me.
where national security meets total stupidity.
Give me the CD and I'll be the money.
After reading, rated R, starts September 12th.
and this is indeed a black comedy because it gets dark when it needs to, and it's pretty damn hilarious, just like the rest of the movie is. You have a story about a recently jobless CIA analyst played by John Malkovich, whose misplaced memoirs are found by a pair of dim-witted gym employees played by Frances McDormand and Brad Pitt. When they mistake the memoirs for classified government documents, they undergo a series of misadventures in an attempt to profit from their find. The film also stars George Clooney as a womanizing UK marshal, Tilda Swinton as Katie Cox, the wife of John Malkovich's character, Richard Jenkins as the gym manager, and J.K. Simmons as a CIA supervisor. And it just goes all over the place in terms of its craziness, its ridiculousness. This is a movie that knows exactly that it is a stupid movie, but a fun stupid movie. I mean, the performances in here are so well done. George Clooney, people forget that George Clooney can be really fucking funny if you give him the right material to work with. I mean, A Brother Where Art Thou, Hail Caesar is another great one. You know, when he can do comedy really well, and I think a lot of people overlook that. And here, he has really good timing with the comedic timing in this movie here, and I'll get to that in just a second. But you know, Frances McDormand's very fun to watch in here. So's John Malkovich. So's Tilda Swinton. Brad Pitt is hilarious in the movie, and Brad Pitt has maybe the funniest death scene I have seen in a long, long time. And it involves George Clooney, again, with that great comedic timing. The ending of the movie where Brad Pitt gets killed by him, and George Clooney, the performance he gives is one of the greatest, funniest performances I've seen from him in terms of comedy. Like, he really sells it, and, like, what's great about what he does is that he kills him, and then he's completely shocked and all, and it's just like, what the hell were you doing in my closet? And, like, the way he plays it and the way he portrays it just plays so well to the film's advantages, and it just works so well. It's such a really fun movie. It's not the smartest story-wise, but it doesn't need to be, because everybody's having a good time with it. It's the Coen brothers doing what the Coen brothers do so well. I love this movie, man. It's a very good movie. Maybe one of their more underrated films, because once it came out, a couple years after it came out, it kind of slipped off to the side. Nobody really ever talks about it anymore, but it's a good film. It's a really damn good film. If you have not seen Burn After Reading, definitely check it out, because it is definitely worth it. It's worth the watch indeed. So that's Burn After Reading. So let's go ahead and move on to the next film we have here. Tyler Perry is back with a new film. This is The Family That Prays.
I am tired of her looking down her nose at us like we didn't live in the same neighborhood. I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now.
This is your sister. We know y'all gonna start acting like it.
In every family,
This is your daughter's wedding. Everything's gonna be fine. You just relax.
there is good.
Mrs. Cartwright paid for the wedding. Look at you. You look beautiful.
You sure you want to do this? I love that girl. And there is bad.
What are your plans after graduation?
Looking for a job, I guess.
Give me a call. I'm sure we can find a position for you.
Okay.
There are the ties that bind.
William, meet Miss Abigail Dexter. She thinks she can take this company global.
I thought you were considering me for that position.
Why on earth would you think that?
Because I'm your son. I was thinking about starting my own construction company.
What you need me for?
A little bit more faith, brother.
There are the mistakes we make.
You don't trust me?
It's not you I don't trust, darling. It's your private thoughts that give me pause.
Yeah, surely nothing will go wrong there with that storyline. But the story here is that you have two families, one wealthy and the other working class, whose lives are intertwined in both love and business. Sanaa Lathan is sleeping around with Cole Hauser. Kathy Bates has a storyline going on with Alfre Woodard, and it's just, I mean, it's a complicated movie. It's a film where you can see Tyler Perry doing what worked with his other movies, like Daddy's Little Girls and Why Did I Get Married. He's trying to have the focus be more on the characters and their situations, and at times that works in something like Why Did I Get Married. But in a movie like this, it just gets way too complicated for its own good. The performances overall aren't bad. Alfre Woodard's pretty good in here. Kathy Bates, I mean, they're not going to turn in bad performances. Rockman Dunbar is his name, the guy who plays Sanaa Lathan's husband in this. He's pretty good in here too, and Tyler Perry can be pretty decent as an actor too. People forget about him. But the thing that really kind of irks me about the movie is the Sanaa Lathan storyline, where she has the affair with Cole Hauser, and the fact that she's just basically bad-mouthing her husband because he wants to have this dream of opening up his own construction company, and he's just like, well, who cares what you have to say? Why don't you be more like the person that I'm sleeping with? I'm not going to tell you that even though they're putting it freaking out in the open, but she gets her comeuppance in the end, because boy, this movie basically says, yeah, fuck you, bitch. Like, she has Alzheimer's disease. It's an early case of Alzheimer's disease. It said the affair gets revealed, so they basically have to fire her. Meanwhile, Rockman Dunbar's character, his construction company takes off and all that, and he becomes more successful than her. Like, she goes from being this top CEO in this company to being somebody who's literally working in the slums and all that. It's just karma gets on Sanaa Lathan in this movie big time, and it's funny, but at the same time, it makes no sense whatsoever. It's kind of a ridiculous storyline in general, but I guess you could. Like I said, it's karma for her because yeah, she treats her husband like garbage in this movie, but the film itself as a whole is it's not that great of a film overall, but it's at least an effort by Perry. It's at least an effort that's trying to be something not like the Medea movies. It's him trying to branch out and do other things outside of those Medea comedies. And on the one hand, I'll give him credit for trying to do something like this, but it just doesn't work as well as something like Why Did I Get Married? I think Why Did I Get Married, I think is a film that does this much better. I think something like Daddy's Little Girls and what was the one I was just saying before? Which one was it? I just had it. I couldn't remember it. Okay, maybe it was just those two, because I'm thinking of movies after this, but no, I said Daddy's Little Girls and Why Did They Get Married? Those films kind of worked because it was him doing something that didn't have to involve Medea. It involved characters that you kind of got attached to. You don't really get attached to anybody in here except for Alfre Woodard and Kathy Bates. I think they're the only two that really come out of this relatively unscathed and actually kind of have a lot more to it. Everybody else just kind of feels like you're just waiting for them to get their comeuppance, the bad people, and you want the good people to get past these troubles and, succeed in their own way. And you get that, but it just doesn't work as a whole. It's a kind of forgettable movie overall. So, a very mixed opinion on it, leaning more towards not recommending it to recommending it, because even the stuff I like about it, it's not enough to carry the film overall, and I think Tyler Perry's done a lot better than this, so mixed opinion on the Failing Deck praise. So with all that said, let us go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here, and that's Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in Righteous Kill.
Fisk. Detective first grade. I've been a cop for over 30 years. You don't become a cop because you want to serve and protect. You join the force because they let you carry a gun and a badge.
What? Between the eyes.
A legendary team. Respected and feared.
You think I'm gonna blow your head off? I wouldn't think twice about it.
Most people respect the badge. Everybody respects the gun.
Struggle? Forced entry?
Hey, nobody wants to hear about your private life, Officer Corelli.
I am forced to dismiss all charges of rape and assault.
When you walk outside, what's your plan?
Get him out of here before somebody passes sense on him.
Number 12 and count. But now,
These guys are all scumbags. Whoever's doing this gets real close, leaves no fingerprints, and obviously takes pride in his work.
they've lost the one thing that made them untouchable.
Anyone gonna say it?
Trust in each other.
Okay, so in some ways you can see kind of the pros and the cons of this movie in particular, but here you have a story where you have Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. They play two aging New York Police Department detectives and longtime partners, hunting for a serial killer who is murdering sociopathic criminals. They both have personal issues, and when they start working with a younger investigation team, Perez and Riley, Perez being played by John Leguizamo and Riley played by Donnie Wahlberg. Had to remember the names there, but tensions between the two teams are inevitable, especially since Turk is now living with Perez's ex-girlfriend, also a homicide detective played by Carla Gugino. And 50 Cent is somebody who comes in as sort of a drug lord, kind of, but not really. But, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of pros and cons to this. The big thing that this movie was selling itself on was the fact that this is Al Pacino and Robert De Niro working together for the first time ever, even though they were both in The Godfather Part 2 before this, even though they weren't in the same scene. And they were in the same scenes in Heat, but for about less than 5 minutes. But, I mean, technically, the advertising was kind of lying to you, but this is both of them together on the big screen in one movie. And that alone kind of makes it kind of cool in its own rights. And to the film's credit, they are the best things about the movie. They're the ones who are giving this their all. They're elevating this to a whole nother level to make it worth it. The acting overall is pretty good. Where the film really falls apart, though, is with the mystery itself. The mystery about who's killing all these criminals. The mystery of who's doing who's the double crosser within the police department. You can kind of figure it out right from the get-go. And that really kind of ends up being the major flaw of the movie. This is directed by John Avnet, who also directed Pacino earlier in the year in 88 Minutes, which that film was another movie that had a good concept overall, but just bad execution and a really lame twist. This one's not as bad as that one, but at the same time, you kind of expect a whole lot more for it, especially with a movie they were really hyping up to be the next great crime film. And it just isn't that. I think the performances overall do carry it to a level where I could say it's worth watching to see De Niro and Pacino together. I mean, it's worth it just to watch them do what they do best. The performances overall, I think, aren't that bad. It's just the story overall. It's pretty bland and pretty generic. It's something that you can kind of see coming a mile away. Definitely a very flawed film, but overall, I thought it was alright. I think it's definitely a film worth checking out if you like seeing De Niro and Pacino in movies like this. I think it's definitely worth it, but you're not going to want to watch it multiple times after you're done watching it. If we're being honest, it's probably one of the better things that come out of Overture Films, honestly, because we've looked at some of their movies so far, and most of them have been pretty garbage. But this one is the first real one that I would say, okay, this one kind of works, but not really. But, so yeah, that's my thoughts on Righteous Kill. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last film we have here, and that is The Woman.
Well, I might as well tell you, I'm eating for two.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Oh, my God.
What's happening?
Edie's knocked up again.
Oof. I want to keep going until I get a boy.
Don't we have enough of those?
Mrs. Hayes.
I just don't know how you manage all the things in your life and still make time for your charitable work.
Oh, pharmaceuticals.
Edie, I wasn't going to say anything, but Mary is like my sister. This is in the vault, right? Stephen is having an affair.
Oh, my God.
Get out of here.
He's fooling around with some woman who works behind the perfume counter. The spritzer? Yeah, can you believe that?
Wow. She is fine.
Jeez, Alex, not now.
How's she taking it?
She doesn't know.
What do you mean she doesn't know? We're in the vault. She's not in the vault. You need to drag her ass into the vault.
Mary, there's a reason why we are all here with you today.
Oh, is this about the perfume bitch?
Oh! You knew and you didn't tell me? Now, honest to God, Mary, I'm so hurt.
You? This isn't happening to you. This is happening to me.
I heard what happened. I ordered you a gimlet. I know you don't drink in the afternoon, but you will eventually, so why not start now?
Steven.
What if I cook us a romantic dinner tonight?
The big white square thing with the fire coming out of it is the stove.
Mary, she's here, in the dressing room across the hall.
What? Now, I'm giving you permission to behave badly. You go in there and kick her out.
Mary is a friend of ours. You better stop it. Stop it.
I'm so sorry that I won't be able to stay longer if my water just broke.
You know your movie is pretty bad when loud screaming is your source of comedy. I mean, from the creator of Murphy Brown, ladies and gentlemen, how low can you possibly sink in 20 years after Murphy Brown? I mean, my God, that trailer is awful, and the movie is pretty bad too. It's funny, when I remember when Spill.com was around, I was a member on that site. I was a member on one of the fans on that site, and when I talked about this movie not being so good, people got on. One person got on me for saying that I shouldn't criticize this movie because it's a remake of a classic 1930s movie. Which, okay, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I mean, yeah, the original it's probably a good movie, but yeah, I don't think this movie would have worked in 1939 if it was, and if it had scenes like that at the end of the trailer for it. Like, I don't get it whatsoever. But to her New York society friends, Mary Haines, played by Meg Ryan, is the perfect woman. She is kind, considerate, and is able to balance her work life as a designer for her father's family business, with her role as loving wife of 13 years to renowned Wall Street businessman Stephen Haines and mother to preteen Molly Haines, all the while still being able to do volunteer work. But slowly the problems in Mary's life, which she was previously unaware of, starts to show themselves. Instead of her father handing over the family business to her as she expects, he instead fires her, believing her work is not of quality since she is spreading herself too thinly over all that she does. Worse, she finds that Stephen is cheating on her with a gold-digging Saks perfume counter girl named Crystal Allen, played by Eva Mendes, of which her core group of friends are aware. As she still loves Stephen, Mary has to figure out what to do, with much advice from those friends and her mother, Candice Bergen. Of course, it's got to have her because she's Murphy Brown, who knows more about what she's going through than Mary would have suspected. As Mary deals with the issues wallowing in her self-pity, her best friend since college, magazine editor Sylvie Fowler, played by Annette Bening, is facing her own personal problems, which impacts what happens to Mary. It isn't until Mary meets agent Leah Miller at a retreat that Mary begins to figure out what she truly wants in her life, how to achieve it, and what part she played in the cause of her problems, not only with Stephen. And, I hate to say this because I like all the people that are involved in here. I mean, I think it's good to have a movie with as many talented women that you have in here. Meg Ryan, Annette Bening, Eva Mendes, Deborah Messing, Jada Pinkett Smith, Bette Midler, Candice Bergen, Carrie Fisher, Cloris Leachman, Debbie Mazur. You see Anna Gasteyer there, Joanna Gleason, Lynn Whitfield. So many talented people in this movie, but they're given absolutely nothing to do. I mean, this feels like the same people that made Sex and the City, except it's not as obnoxious or as annoying as Sex and the City. Yeah, I know the end of that trailer was rough, but I mean, at least this one was at least tolerable. This is just, This one was at least tolerable, but not enough for me to say it's a good movie whatsoever. I don't even really know who the appeal of this movie is. I mean, this is a movie that's mainly focusing on the same Sex and the City audience, which I've talked about before. You know, maybe the same audience that watches 80 for Brady, where they're not really paying attention to the movie, they're gabbing with their girlfriends while they're watching the movie, and don't care about what's going on here. But even the men that's going to get dragged to this, because you see a scene where, oh, Meg Ryan and Eva Mendes are in lingerie, it's got to look sexy, right? Well, no. You want to see that scene? There you go. I just gave you an opportunity to not watch this movie because, like, they're not even dressed sexy whatsoever. This is the type of sexy that women is that the people who write this movie write for Lifetime movies and what they think is sexy lingerie. Like this is like that's not even real. It's like none of that looks good looking on anybody. Like it just looks like. It looks like the in between what the Victorian lingerie that people used to wear and the kind that women wear nowadays. I mean, it just doesn't work. It just does not work, and the movie itself does not work at all. The comedy is lazy. They waste all these talented women on a script that is so badly put together, and they're all in this because this is the woman that made Murphy Brown. And I'm sorry, like I love Murphy Brown. I love that show back in the day. This ain't no Murphy Brown, and everybody in this movie should be really ashamed of themselves for agreeing to this. I mean, this is just an insulting film. Like, I never saw the original, The Women, but I'm probably not sugarcoating this when I say that movie is probably much better, much smarter than what it was trying to accomplish, and much more enjoyable than anything from this pile of garbage here. Everybody in this movie is a much more talented actress than the material given to them, and they can't elevate this to a level where it's worth it in the end. It's a terrible movie. It's a terrible film. It's so bad that you don't even get to see the guy that Meg Ryan's character was married to. Steven never shows up in this goddamn movie, and why not have him in there? Like, why not have guys in there so the males can have something to connect with? Give the guys that are going on these dates is to this movie something to get attached to. And this movie can't do that. This movie is too lazy and thinks that just because you got all these gifted women in here, that's the thing that's going to carry this movie to the next level. And it's just not, man. It's just a lousy, lousy movie. It's a terrible film. It does not work in any way, shape, or form. It sucks. It's a sucky movie that wasted so much talent across the board here. Everybody the people who greenlit this film should be ashamed of themselves for doing this, because everybody in here deserves much better work than this pile of garbage here. And this is a pile of garbage movie. The women, avoid this one like the plague. Please. And so on that positive note, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Time About the Movies.
Give us your wallet, man. Give it up. Welcome to the neighborhood. What? Scared the hell out of me. Isn't it?
I met our new neighbor.
And?
He's a very special brand of humor.
He's got security lights.
The outside lights are shining right into our upstairs.
See how that could be annoying? But I don't need you putting your bedroom scenes out here for my kids to see.
The tires are flat.
They're slashed.
See anyone?
No. I just see you. The man never made an actual threat against your life, and he has the color issue on his side. And that color happens to be blue.
Put the gun down!
We gotta figure out a way to deal with this.
Or what?
The hell are you doing? You didn't ask my permission to plant. I'm the police. You have to do what I say.
Lakeview Terrace.
You guys are lucky. We have a cop living next door.
Rated PG-13.
So as I mentioned before, this was directed by Neil LaBute, whose last film was the So Bad It's Good, The Wicker Man remake with Nicolas Cage. And I wish I could say this one is on that same level, but no, it's not. It's not even up there with some of Neil LaBute's better movies. This is a film that, boy, this thing fell apart pretty quickly. It starts off with an intriguing premise. Samuel L. Jackson plays a racist black Los Angeles Police Department police officer who terrorizes his next-door neighbors, Patrick Wilson and Kerry Washington, only because they're an interracially married couple. And literally, that's the plot of the movie. It starts off promisingly. I mean, there's a lot of things about the first maybe 20, 30 minutes that I got invested in. I thought it was actually going to work. But then it just falls apart pretty quickly. It falls into Pacific Heights territory. It falls into single white female territory. It falls into The Hand That Rocks the Cradle territory. I mean, it's a movie that literally is nothing but watching somebody terrorize somebody else for their own stupid reasons, and there's not even a point to it. There's not even a point to it. As you can just see why they're doing it right from the get-go. And Samuel Jackson can do it because he's a cop, and he's somebody that is above the law, and he can do whatever he wants supposedly. And it just doesn't work, man. I mean, this is a film that we've seen done to death so many times before. On any other circumstances, this would have been a Lifetime movie of the week. But because you got Samuel Jackson, because you've got Kerry Washington and Patrick Wilson, it had to go to the big screen. Not to mention Will Smith's company, Overbrook Entertainment, is one of the main producers on him. And I think one of their kids are in this movie too. But it doesn't work because as much as the actors in here are good enough to elevate this material, there's no real point to it. I mean, we're just watching Samuel Jackson harassing this couple just because they're a mixed-race couple, and that's it. That's the whole idea of the movie, and it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever because, I mean, this takes place, it's a reference to the title itself is based off the middle-class Los Angeles neighborhood of Lakeview Terrace. So there's even points in the movie where Samuel Jackson has no other problem with any of the other couples in town, but so why is he going after this couple just because of their race? I mean, it's because they're an interrace couple. It just, none of this makes any goddamn sense whatsoever. And if you're going to watch this movie just to see Samuel Jackson being chaotic and over the top and being basically a Kevin or Karen, I mean, there's no reason to do that. I mean, you can just go online right now and look for Kevin compilations, and that's stuff that's happened in real life, and that's stuff that, stuff like that makes a movie like this pretty obsolete pretty damn quickly because, yeah, this movie just doesn't work at all. It's a film that starts off promisingly but falls off really, really quickly and becomes a typical standard bland thriller that thinks it's got a message behind it, and then they don't reveal what the message is, and nothing about the film works overall. Everybody here is wasted in this. I mean, there's nobody in here that comes out unscathed or good. It's just a bad movie. It's a film that just doesn't work, and it's such a disappointment. Such a disappointment because of everybody involved. I expect so much better from it, but it's not there. It's just not there with this movie, so. With that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here. Dane Cook in his last film with Lionsgate, because, Larry the Cable Guy had his last film earlier in the year. Dane Cook now has his last film, My Best Friend's Girl.
Your dreams.
I'm Alexis.
Try doing the following. Show her you're lovesick. Get a new hairstyle.
Oh my God.
Always make yourself available.
Hello? Yeah, I can talk.
Start thinking about babies.
Oh, that what he's having?
And get to know her family.
Come on, it's not gonna suck itself, Mama.
Dane Cook, Kate Hudson, Jason Biggs, My Best Friend's Girl.
And now you see why this was Dane Cook's last film, because holy mother of God, I mean, who would have guessed that Employee of the Month would be Dane Cook's high mark for comedies where he's the lead in it? Because, good Lord, this thing is a mess, man. So, and also Jason Biggs. I forgot Jason Biggs was in this movie. 0 for 2 so far this year with this and Over Her Dead Body. But Jason Biggs plays Dustin, an amiable guy who's in love with Alexis, played by Kate Hudson. Academy Award nominee Kate Hudson, by the way. And this is what she's been relegated to in the 8 years since. She's a co-worker of Dustin. And when she tells him she just wants to be friends, he hires his roommate, Tate, played by Dane Cook, who's a fast-talking, amoral scoundrel who has a side business. Men whose women have dumped them, hired Tank to take their ex-girlfriends out on a date from hell to drive the women back into their old boyfriend's arms. Yeah, I can't see that not being a major red flag right away, but anyway, he takes out Alexis, who, against her better judgment, decides she needs some randy fun. So Take is in a quandary. Take Alexis up on her offer or stay true to his friend. More complications ensue as the wedding of Alexis' sister approaches. Tank seeks advice from his father, played by Alec Baldwin. Dustin pursues Alexis, and questions of self-worth need answers. And we need answers to the question of why the fuck did you make this movie? Because, yeah, this film is such a colossal failure on so many levels. Nothing about this movie works at all. Like the premise makes no sense whatsoever. Dane Cook's job in the movie makes no sense whatsoever. So what? he takes he's basically taking these women out that clearly do not want to be with their ex-boyfriends, and for some reason that's going to make him say, I should go back to my old boyfriend. It's just like, what sense does that make whatsoever? Is Dane Cook the only person left in the world besides that these women will go for? I mean, nothing about this movie makes any sense whatsoever, and you expect so much better from people like Kate Hudson and Alec Baldwin. Again, an Oscar winner, an Oscar nominee, I should say, for The Cooler, which was a really good movie with him. But man, he has fallen on hard times with this movie, man. I mean, they brought him in here mostly because, hey, his career had a renaissance with 30 Rock and the Oscar nomination a couple years prior, but I'm sorry, there's just nothing in this movie that's worth it. I mean, granted, it's not as bad as Good Luck Chuck. Good Luck Chuck was an abysmal film. Who would have guessed that, like I said, who would have guessed Employee of the Month would be the best of the 3 films that Dane Cook had the starring role in terms of a romantic comedy? But, I mean, he has proven that he can be a decent actor. We've seen him in Mr. Brooks. We've seen him in Dan in Real Life. I mean, the guy does have potential as a leading actor, but not in a comedy like this. And, really, the warning sign should have not been Dane Cook, but the fact this is the director of the whole 10 yards. So, there you go. That's the reason why you should probably stay away from this movie. But, nevertheless, it was still, unfortunately, a hit. It made double its budget back, $41 million. So, apparently people bought into it. And I feel sorry for those people because, man, what a colossal failure this movie was. So, yeah. We're not off to the greatest of starts here, and surely we can turn the tide around with our next movie, I would hope. Let's take a look at Igor.
In the land of malaria, the most brilliant minds compete to see who is the greatest scientist of them all.
It's the 51st annual Science Fair.
And behind each scientist
Hold the switch!
is an Igor.
Hey, master! Hold the switch!
Whose job can be summed up in 2 words.
Yes, master.
But one Igor is about to change everything.
Sorry, master. I was in the bathroom. Had a bat stuck in the belfry, if you know what I mean.
Did I forget to mention this was directed by the same guy that did the Emoji Movie? So yeah, we can already go ahead and call this an instant failure right from the get-go. Plus, it's the Weinstein Company who got lucky with Hoodwink, but everything else they've done since then is not good. Not good at all. And for MGM, this was their first fully animated film since, of all things, All Dogs Go to Heaven 2 in 1996. But this is a movie where you have... it's a good concept overall. It's actually a pretty interesting concept overall. Chris McKenna wrote this, who, of course, was one of the writers on American Dad, has written a lot of other good stuff. But you have John Cusack playing the titular Igor, who lives in the kingdom of malaria, where others of his kind serve as assistants to evil scientists. In trying to achieve his dreams to becoming an evil scientist, Igor accidentally creates a sweet-natured female monster named Eva, played by Molly Shannon, and a voice cast that also includes Steve Buscemi, Sean Hayes, Jay Leno, Eddie Izzard, Jennifer Coolidge, Arsenio Hall, John Cleese, Christian Slater. James Lipton even shows up in the movie, not as a character, but himself. It's a live-action role, which makes no sense whatsoever. Like, why is he here in this movie, and why is he playing this character? I mean, James Lipton's awesome, but yeah, this seems really pointless, and the movie goes where you think it's going to go. It takes an aspiring, interesting concept of having, the evil scientists to these evil assistants to these mad scientists having the focus of their own storyline, and under another studio, this could probably work, but not under a studio like MGM and the Weinstein Company, who are just making kids' films for the sake of building a family library, so 20 years from now they could be part of a big family film collection on DVD or Blu-ray. I mean, that's literally why this movie exists. The animation is terrible. You can see the jokes in there are not that interesting at all. It's a waste of good talent across the board, and it just doesn't work. It's a movie that's really, really lazy and badly put together. And I said bad things about him this director for doing the Emoji Movie, but he did do Lilo and Stitch 2, which was not a bad movie. It was actually one of the better Disney direct-to-video sequels. But this, yeah, you could see that this is the tip of the iceberg before his career came tumbling down with the Emoji Movie. So, yeah. What more can you say about it? Igor, not a good movie. So, we're 0 for 3 so far, but I have a feeling we're going to turn the tide around here with the next movie we have here, because this is one of my favorite underrated films of the year. Ricky Gervais in Ghost Town.
Crossed over to the other side.
Did anything unusual happen during my procedure?
You died.
How long?
7 minutes.
A bit less. And he didn't come back alone.
You got a sec?
New York is lousy with ghosts. On September 19th, he may not like them.
Why are you dressed like that? Were you a maitre d'?
You wear what you died in. At least they look nice. But he's the only one who can help them.
You did have a lot of unfinished business, which is why we're still here. Is this a bad time?
Ghost Town.
Yeah, this is a movie you probably never even heard of, because it quickly came and went. Didn't really make much of an impact at the box office. It was a critically praised movie, but it really didn't make much at the box office. It came and went. It didn't even it barely made back its budget of $20 million, but it was largely forgotten after a couple months. But man, this was a movie I was really glad I got to see when I did, because it definitely works. You have Ricky Gervais in one of his few leading roles, where he plays a dentist who accidentally gets killed when he gets hit by a bus while trying to buy an apartment for his mistress, and then he ends up in the hospital, and he ends up dying for 7 minutes under general anesthesia during a colonoscopy. And because of this, he's able to see and talk to ghosts, and he has one ghost that follows him around, Greg Kinnear, who basically wants him to help his wife out, who's still alive, played by Taylor Leone. And not only does he need his help, but a lot of these other ghosts come around him and ask him to help him out. And it's a very, very good movie. This was written and directed by David Coep, who, of course, is a very prolific writer. You've seen his works before. This is the guy that wrote Jurassic Park, Carlito's Way, The Paper, Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But he's a good director, too. He's made a couple of really good movies. Stir of Echoes, Secret Window, Premium Rush. The guy's been behind a lot of really good stuff. He's written a lot of good stuff as of late. Presence, Black Bags, the 2 Steven Soderbergh movies that came out this year have been really, really good, I've heard. I haven't got to see them yet, but yeah, this is a really damn good movie. And it shows Ricky Gervais did have a promise there as a leading star. He would only do one other movie the following year, which was The Invention of Lying, which isn't as good as this movie is, but I didn't think it was all that bad, but it's a good movie. It shows what he can do as a leading actor, and he does have some nice chemistry with Taylor Leone. Taylor Leone is very good in the film. Greg Kinnear has a very fun role here. The ghosts are very fun to watch here. You see Kristen Wiig in the trailer there, and it reminded me a lot of the old Woody Allen movies, like The Purple Rose of Cairo. That's what I feel like I got the most from that, and also Alice. These very hybrid fantasy comedies of his that were very ambitious for the time, and some of them work, some like The Purple Rose of Cairo, some of them not so much, like Alice, but that's what this reminded me of when I watched it again recently. I was really impressed by how this film held up pretty well. It's a really good movie. It's one you should definitely check out. It's a very underrated Ricky Gervais comedy. Very good film. This director overall has made a lot of really good films that didn't make much of an impact box office-wise, but their longevity is very, very good. But yeah, this is definitely one you want to check out. Ghost Town is a really good, underrated little gem. Probably my favorite movie of the whole week. So, although our next movie is really good too, and again, was not a big box office hit either, but I mean, you can't go wrong with a new Western. This is Ed Harris's Appaloosa.
City Marshal, you're a dead man.
How long have you been killing people for a living?
I don't kill people. I enforce the law. Looks like you made your first mistake, Cole. You afraid to die?
I ain't afraid.
Good, because you go first.
So in the movie, Ed Harris and Viggo Mortensen are lawmen hired by desperate towns as marshal and deputy, respectively. The city fathers of Appaloosa hire them after Randall Bragg, played by Jeremy Irons, a newly arrived rancher with money and a gang of thugs, disrupts commerce and kills 3 local lawmen. Cole and Hitch contrive to arrest Bragg and bring him to trial, but hanging him proves to be difficult. Meanwhile, a widow has arrived in town, played by Renee Zellweger, pretty refined and good-natured. Virgil falls hard and it seems mutual, but there might be more to Alice than meets the eye. Can friendship and skill with a gun overcome a pernicious villain and a green-eyed jealousy. Yeah, this is a film that's actually really damn good. Modern westerns were really coming back in full form at the end of the decade here. You know, 310 to Yuma and the Assassinations of Jesse James the year before. Open Range came out 5 years prior to this. This is one that does not get talked about a whole lot, but it's a really good movie by Ed Harris, not just as the star. He also co-wrote the film and directed it, too. This is actually his second film as a director after Pollock, which got him an Academy Award nomination for starring in that film. But this is a really good underrated Western movie. It's a very gritty-looking film. It does things that are very different compared to other Westerns overall. The acting overall, I think, really elevates it to something really incredible. Viggo Mortensen and Ed Harris are great in this. Renee Zellweger is really good here. Jeremy Irons really pulls it off as in a Western like this. I didn't think Jeremy Irons could work in the Western form, but here he goes, putting in a really good performance. Lance Henriksen's in here too, Tim Spall. There's a lot of good people all across the board in here. It's a very eclectic-looking film. It's not too long. It's not Assassination of Jesse James long. I mean, it's only about 2 hours long, so you're not really in there for longer than you need to be. But it's definitely a very good Western that is very underrated, and it's one you should definitely check out. Appaloosa is one I highly recommend checking out. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here, and that is The Duchess.
Betrayed by her husband.
What's going on?
Nothing to concern you. She'll dare to defy tradition.
He's in love with you.
All London is talking. Let them talk. To follow her heart. The Duchess. Rated PG-13. Now playing in select theaters everywhere October 3rd.
So The Duchess is a story about, based off the book Georgina, Duchess of Devonshire by Amanda Foreman. And it's about the late 18th century English aristocrat Georgiana Cavendish, Duchess of Devonshire. She was a distant relation of Diana, Princess of Wales, where the quote, "There were 3 people in her marriage," and the promotional poster comes from. The Duchess was the older sister of Lady Diana's great-great-great-grandfather, George Spencer, 2nd Earl Spencer. This is one of the rare movies from this year that I have not seen. So I can't really say if it's any good or not. I mean, there's good talent across the board here. You know, Keira Knightley, Ray Fiennes, Charlotte Rampling, Dominic Cooper, Haley Atwell, Simon McBurney. But I mean, I've never seen the film. I've heard about it. I just never really had an urge to go and see it. And mostly because no one really ever said, this is one you got to check out. And really, I've never heard anybody say this is one you got to check out. Even though it did win the Oscar for Best Costume Design and also was nominated for Art Direction. I don't know. The film, nothing really about this film really said I needed to see it overall. And I've never really had a real desire to go check it out. But then again, maybe it is something I need to see. Maybe it is something that I should check out. I mean, there have been some good period pieces as of late. Some with Keira Knightley involved in them. Pride and Prejudice was a good one. Atonement was a really good one. This one, I've never heard anybody really say anything great about it. And the reviews for it are not that great either. It's got like a 63 on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's not really that great of a review of a consensus overall. So I don't know. I've never seen it. I probably won't check it out, but I don't know. Maybe one day I will. Maybe I might get curious about it, but I've never really had any interest in really checking this movie out per se. So that's my quick thoughts on The Duchess overall, because I haven't seen it, so I can't really say too much more.
Sorry.
Hello? The FBI will arrive at your apartment in 30 seconds. You must flee the premises.
Who is it? No, none of this is mine! FBI! Get down on the floor! I didn't do anything! You know you got the wrong guy, right? Oh, obviously. Somebody set me up. Here's the thing, Jerry. You're in a load of trouble, son. Time for your phone call.
We told you to run.
But you didn't show. Who are you?
You have 10 seconds.
What the hell are you talking about?
Get down now. You have 4 seconds.
They were very smart in how they marketed this movie. They first premiered the trailer for this in front of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Of course, Shia LaBeouf was in that movie. And they've really sucked a lot of people in with that trailer. I was really invested to see how this was going to turn out. I mean, I really liked Disturbia, and Shia LaBeouf at the time was really starting to begin this trend where everyone thought he was going to be the next big Bruce Willis like a star, where, you know, he started his career off in television with Even Stevens, of course, and then eventually grew his film repertoire and started making these really good movies. And then he got involved with Steven Spielberg with stuff like Disturbia, as I mentioned, Transformers, of course, and then Eagle Eye, which were all produced by Spielberg, and they're all made by DreamWorks. So kind of like how Bruce Willis started off with Moonlighting and then followed that with Die Hard to become the big action star. Chris Pratt also went down that same route, too. And they were very smart in how they promoted the movie, because they're showing you the stuff that gets you kind of intrigued on how this film's going to turn out. For the first half of it, it's really good. The second half, not so much. But you have the story of two strangers, played by LaBeouf and Michelle Monaghan, who are forced to go on the run together after receiving a mysterious phone call from an unknown woman with the voice of Julianne Moore, who uses information and communications technology to track their every move. And for the first half of it, you're along for the ride. It's a very intriguing story. You get a sense of, you know, North by Northwest. Like, this guy has no idea why he's getting involved in this situation, even though he has a twin brother who looks like him. And for the first half of it, you go along for the ride. It gets really stupid, but the film is doing a good job consistently with the first half that you get. You're like, okay, I can get along with this. Where the film really starts to fall apart, though, is when there's a scene in the middle of the movie where they're with these other people and they're trying to run away from something, and these power lines are starting to fall apart. Like, they're with the electricity still on, and one of the people that is chasing after is with them gets eviscerated, and it's just completely vaporized by this strike, and it's just like, that is where the movie then starts to fall apart. Like, if this was a roller coaster, that scene is the tipping point, and then following that, that's where we go careening down the hill. Because after that, man, this thing gets way too preposterous and way too complicated for its own good. There's a subplot where Michelle Monaghan basically has to go in and kill like a political figure or something. There's a part where the agents are kind of secretly double crossers that really does come out of nowhere, and they don't really do a good job of establishing the ideas of what they were trying to set up for the first time around, and they really just completely go off the deep end here. And yeah, it definitely hurts the movie in the long run. It's a film where I was really liking it at first, but then when that second half begins, that's where it kind of goes careening off the hill. Now, it's not a bad movie. Like I said, the first half I think is more than enjoyable enough. The action sequences throughout the film are very good. I like Shia LaBeouf and Michelle Monaghan working off each other. I think the main cast overall is very good. Rosario Dawson's in this, Michael Chiklis, Anthony Mackie, Billy Bob Thornton, Julianne Moore, but it's the story and the plot twists and turns that really kind of ruins the ebb and flow of the movie. I think when it falls into standard routine territory for a film like this, that's where it really starts to fall apart in the long run. And it doesn't completely kill my overall enjoyment of the movie, but it's definitely a part where it really, really does fall apart. And the first half definitely is the stronger part of this movie. After that, it kind of falls apart pretty quickly, but hey, it was a box office hit. It made a lot of money. It made over $100 million. It proved that Shia LaBeouf's star power was still very much there in general. And you still see it played on TV today. I'll always remember this movie for, of all things, one of the last things I saw when I was out of Ocelli's Pizza in Monroeville before the COVID pandemic. No joke. If you ever seen one of the Movie Stop episode I did before the COVID pandemic happened, I went to Vocelli's, and and I show a little bit of the television, and it shows Eagle Eye playing on the television. I guess it was playing on TNT at that time. And that's kind of how I somehow remember this movie. It was the last movie I saw before the world basically shut down for several months because of the pandemic. But it does go to show you that, 12 years after this movie came out, the film still still is shown on television. It was a big hit, so it's still a film that you see on TV every once in a while. So it does have its legacy behind it overall. But, yeah, like I said, it's not a bad movie overall. I think the first half definitely is the strongest part of it. The second half, it does take a lot of the enjoyment out of it because of how crazy and ridiculous it gets, but it's never enough for me to say that it's a film you should completely avoid. It's a film where it's just kind of like, it's there. It's nothing too amazing, nothing too spectacular, but the first half definitely is the strongest part of the film. Other than that, yeah, you can avoid the rest of it overall. But it's a decent movie overall. For a one-time watch, I'd say it's perfectly fine for that, so. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Richard Gere and Diane Lane in their first film together since Unfaithful, and Nicholas Sparks' first feature film since The Notebook came out, Nights in Rodanthe.
When do the guests arrive? Guests, meaning one, tonight. Is he good looking? I am not having this conversation with you. That good looking, huh?
From the best-selling author of The Notebook.
I made that list to keep special things safe.
Who keeps you safe? Richard Gere.
Any man is a fool who doesn't know how lucky he is to have you.
Diane Lane.
Oh, yes, he's definitely a keeper.
Nights in Rodanthe.
And as you can tell, we are definitely not going on the same levels as The Notebook with this movie. This is a pretty bad movie, and basically was an indication that, The Notebook was a one-trick pony that worked because there was good talent in terms of the acting and the directing. Here, you've got the good acting, the story. I mean, it's not that much. It basically kind of gives you an indication of every Nicholas Sparks story ever made, pretty much. But Diane Lane plays a woman whose life is in crisis and in chaos and retreats to the tiny coastal town of Rodanthe in the Outer Banks of North Carolina to attend to her friend's inn, the friend being played by Viola Davis. Here she hopes to find the tranquility, so she desperately needs to rethink the conflict surrounding her. A wayward husband who is asked to come home, a teenage daughter who resents her every direction, and almost as soon as she gets there to a major storm is forecasted and a guest played by Richard Gere arrives. The only guest at the inn, because why not? You could pretty much tell that Viola Davis set this whole thing up, and he's not on a weekend escape, but rather is there to face his own crisis of consciousness. Now with the storm closing in, the two turn to each other for comfort, and in one magical weekend set an emotional, life-changing romance that will resonate through the rest of their lives, and blah, 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 blah. It's the same damn movie that we've seen from Nicholas Sparks with every single one of his adaptations. Two people meet, and so that automatically they're supposed to have a story that's supposed to be, heartfelt and romantic, and no, it just doesn't work. I mean, it worked with The Notebook, but that was a one-trick pony that worked once, because every single one of these movies that he's done since then, Message in a Bottle, A Walk to Remember, and then following this, well, Dear John, The Last Song, The Lucky One, Safe Haven, The Best of Me. It's the same movie every single time. Just put two different people in there, and it's basically the same movie. It's the same formula done to death so many times, and it doesn't work every time. It only worked once with The Notebook. Here, I get it. Richard Gere and Diane Lane are great actors. They've worked together before. They've worked on The Cotton Club. They worked on Unfaithful. Two movies that actually worked. This one, everything about this one just feels forced. The storm, of course the storm has to come when there's only one person, and it just so happened to be someone who's in the same age bracket as Diane Lane. I mean, what are the odds? I mean, honestly, this film is so derivative, so schmaltzy, so gimmicky. Yeah, I know I'm using the critical consensus for Rotten Tomatoes, but there's no other really way to describe this except the fact that, it's a film that is so forced. Everything about this movie is so forced. The chemistry that both Diane Lane and Richard Gere have in here, it just does not work. It does not work in any way, shape, or form because the situation is so ridiculous. And if any other person would be in that same situation here, in real life, one person would be seen as the monster, and that's probably the guy in that situation, but, but no, Richard Gere has to be a nice guy and all that, and, this movie just doesn't work. This movie is so lazily put together, and it's just not fun in any way, shape, or form. It's a lousy movie. It's a terrible film. You can avoid this one like the plague, so. With that said, let's go ahead and move on to, one of the more surprise successes of this weekend, Kirk Cameron starring in Fireproof.
Seems I'm a hero with everybody in the world except my wife.
Is there anything in you that wants to save your marriage?
The #1 inspirational film in America. Kirk Cameron, Fireproof, now on DVD.
So yeah, this was a movie that really came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting to do the money that this thing did, and it went on to become a massive success that, like I said, nobody really saw coming in any way, shape, or form. But you have the story of Caleb and Catherine Holt's, whose marriage is in crisis, and they're contemplating divorce. However, Caleb's father proposes that his son should delay their separation for 40 days and follow a procedure called the love date to reignite their love. And of course, Caleb is played by Kirk Cameron, who is notoriously known now for these movies. But you also have Catherine Holt, played by Erin Bethia. And actually, Kirk Cameron's real wife, Chelsea Noble, did the to supposed body double for this, because apparently there were scenes where they had to reconcile and Cameron wouldn't kiss any woman but his wife. So I guess you take that for what you will, but yeah, this was a film that nobody really saw coming as a success. I mean, this is a film that ordinarily would not do well in any way, shape, or form, but because the people who marketed this movie, Samuel Goldwyn apparently hired a really good marketing team, because they sold this to a lot of Christian groups, churches, pastors, and they basically had people come out to see these movies at group screenings, and the film ended up doing really, really well. It brought in $6 million for a film that only cost $500,000 to make, and went on to have this big gross of $33 million, which for a film like this was unprecedented at the time. Nobody really expected to see this one coming as a success as it was. And it became a big hit on DVD, too, and it kind of set the tone for what was to come for these faith-based movies, which are still coming out even to this very day. You've had successes like Courageous, which was another success that really came out of nowhere. War Room was another one that really came out of nowhere. Heaven is for Real. And then the major studios started getting more involved in producing more of these faith-based movies, which most of them were not very successful, but sometimes you got a good one here and there. Like, I thought American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story, was really good. And Jesus Revolution, the one with Kelsey Grammer, was one that I thought I was not going to expect to like, but I actually did kind of like it. But then again, it's got Kelsey Grammer, and that guy will usually never turn in a bad performance. But it just goes to show you what this significant film really did, and how it basically opened the door for every other studio to go like, you know, these faith-based movies could turn out to actually be worth something. We actually put the money into it. And lo and behold, it had one of these impressive grassroots campaigns that, you know, is something that we still see with a lot of movies to this very day. A lot of these movies did not get a whole lot of advertising, but they find their way with audiences. They find their way with people at churches and all that, and it worked to the film's favor. Now, as far as the film itself goes, I can't really say if it's any good or not, because I've never seen it, and honestly, I've never really had any real intentions on checking it out, per se. I'd never get really attached to these movies in particular, but like I said, I've seen a couple of ones here and there that were kind of decent overall, but this one, I've just never really gotten around to checking it out, but probably isn't that bad overall. I mean, it's got decent reviews on not the best reviews overall, I should say, not really decent, but I've seen much worse in terms of movies like this with critical reviews, and I don't know. It's just one that I've never really had the urge to really go out and see, so that's Fireproof. Let's go ahead and move on to the next film we have here. We're getting back to the good stuff now. This is the next two films are probably my favorite films of this entire weekend. Starting off with Spike Lee's latest film, the World War II drama Miracle at St. Anna.
Director's end step, please.
Tim Boyer, Daily News. You're clean as a board of health. You got no debts, no enemies, 4 years in service.
Look at this, a Purple Heart. What the hell is this?
This thing ain't normal. $5 million. That's how much that statue had withdrawn in black market. What's it doing buried there in the bottom of your closet?
Americani.
We are Italians.
You got a boy that needs help. Don't know how the hell we got past German lines, but we're surrounded. You ain't got to be scared. Feel that magic. All you got to do is believe in it.
They are afraid. 3 years we've been waiting.
We'll find a way out of here. I'll get you home. I'm the only one left who knows.
This really is one of Spike Lee's most underrated movies as a filmmaker. It's a film that kind of came and went, didn't really leave much of an impact at the box office, and was largely passed over by most critics overall, but it was a movie I really, really enjoyed. It really shows you how far Spike Lee has come since the days of Do the Right Thing and Malcolm X and Jungle Fever, and shows that the guy has a lot of talent across the board as a filmmaker still, even after all these years. But the story of Miracle at St. Anna follows 4 members of the U.S. Army's all-black 92nd Infantry Division, the Buffalo Soldiers, that are trapped behind enemy lines after one of them risks his life to save a traumatized Italian boy. Separated from their unit, they find themselves at this remote Tuscan village where they experience the tragedy and the triumph of war. And this really is one of Spike Lee's most underrated movies, with a strong cast of really good talent. Derek Luke, Michael Ealy, Laz Alonso, Omar Benson Miller, who you know is Raphael from the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You have John Turturro in here, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Kerry Washington. The movie really is well done. It's a very impressive-looking film, and it's a really captivating story about these 4 guys who, you don't usually get to see stories like this told from the different perspectives of the war. Like, we've had 2 war movies from Clint Eastwood, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima, showing the different sides of the Americans and the Japanese, but now we have a story about these 4 black soldiers who, they're the focus of the film, and it works really well to the advantages of the film. I think it's a very well-made movie, a well-put-together film, a film that is very much an underrated movie, and one I really do think a lot of people really should give another shot at. And like I said, it just goes to show how Spike Lee, this is what Spike Lee's capable of doing. He's not just making movies like Do the Right Thing or Jungle Fever. He's capable of making epic films like this, epic war movies like this, and I think it really is a very good, well-made film, and it showed that he was back in form, because there was a little bit of a streak there where he was making less than spectacular movies, and then he followed that up recently with a lot of really good movies like Chirac, Black Klansman, Da 5 Bloods. But this is a film that really shows a lot of what this guy's capable of doing. And I think it's a very good, underrated film. Definitely one you want to check out. Miracle at St. Anna. I can't recommend this one enough. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here, and that's Sam Rockwell in Choke.
Excuse me, miss, that mole on your thigh?
Yeah.
You might want to get that looked at. Melanoma is the most common cancer for women, especially blondes.
What's your name?
Victor.
I'm Terry Dacre. It's not my real name.
And of course, that's Jillian Jacobs playing the stripper Cherry Daiquiri, and like most people, that was my introduction to her as an actress. I mean, of course, now we know her as Britta from Community, but yeah, she was pretty good in this movie. I mean, she's a beautiful looking woman, but she's also very funny in the movie. She's a really good actress in this film. The movie overall is just really well done. This is a film that, and it's also directed by Agent Coulson from from The Avengers. Clark Gregg directed this movie, based of course on the novel by Chuck Palahniuk from Fight Club, of course. You have a story of Sam Rockwell, who works in a colonial theme park and attends sexual addiction recovery meetings, and intentionally chokes on food at upscale restaurants so his rescuers get him money out of sympathy, and thus covers his mother's Alzheimer's disease hospital bills. The mother played by Angelica Houston. Of course, he has a friend, Brad William Hennicky, but then it gets complicated when he gets into a situation with this doctor played by Kelly MacDonald. She's very religious and wants to have a baby, and it just, like I said, it gets very complicated overall, but it's done very well. It's a very funny movie. It's a very smart comedy, and it works because everybody is just game for this. Everybody's working their asses off here. They're acting hard. It's a really good, fun movie. It's a very well-made film. If you ever seen the show Hung on HBO with Thomas Jane, it's kind of like that in a way. Like, it's a really good show. That's definitely one you want to check out. If you like that, you're going to love the hell out of this. I think this is a really good movie. It shows what Clark Gregg's capabilities are as a director, for the fact that he's mostly known for his acting works. His great acting works on The Avengers, of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The New Adventures of Old Christine. I mean, there's a lot of things to admire about the movie. It's a very funny movie. It's a very smart film, a very good satirical parody, a very good dark comedy. We don't usually get movies like this anymore. I mean, most comedies, I think they play it way too safe nowadays, even the raunchy comedies, but sometimes you get a good one every once in a while, no hard feelings. But But yeah, this is one you might want to check out. It's a really good, underrated film with a lot of really good people involved in here. And just a lot of really good talent all across the board here. It's a very fun film. I really enjoyed this one a lot. I think it's a very enjoyable film. One I highly recommend checking out. Choke is one that definitely needs a lot more attention than it gets. It's a very enjoyable film. I enjoyed the hell out of it.